Hi there, and welcome to the latest episode of Pat's Procrastination, brought to you by the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel. Please do not forget to be subscribing to said YouTube channel so that you never miss an episode. Here we are, episode 46, week 13, Patriots versus Colts. He's Chudders, I'm Clazzy Clare. So, Chudders, how are things with you?
Not too bad, thank you, Claire. Thank you for asking. Another disappointing loss in disappointing circumstances, but we've got a bye week now before the final slog. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And I just will preface that you said mention about the bye week, because just in case we forget to mention it at the end, although this is a recap wrap show, folks, a post-game recap wrap show, sorry, there will be an episode in the bye week subject to Chudders' schedule. So it may be a bye week for everybody else, but it isn't for us. And yes, you are quite right, talking about the game, aggravating, frustrating loss. It's a good job that we don't like publish our notes. You know how like Mike Reese like empties out the notebook and he puts all that epic information out there for everybody on Twitter, that kind of thing. It's a really good job that we don't empty out our notebooks, because mine is not for family viewing. After that game, yeah.
I want to open up with a question for you today. What
Okay.
were the top 5 reasons you thought that the Patriots lost?
The top 5 reasons that I thought they lost. Oh, you're setting up because you want me to say the officials as number 1.
No,
isn't it nice, folks, how he puts our private conversations out there for everybody to see? Yeah, I was really aggravated by the officiating, but obviously that isn't the reason why they lost. I would put it within the 5 because I think some bad calls was a catalyst for other things. So I do believe that some points were lost due to very bad officiating. However, that is not the top reason. Obviously, it's never the top reason. Do you want to get into the officiating now? Is that why you asked? Because there are proper, genuine other reasons. But it got to the stage where the officials were throwing a yellow flag and then deciding what number to call it on. It was crap. That I'm trying not to swear because we don't swear on this show, really. Although we probably can. We don't, because it's a serious family show, obviously, because there's loads of little kids watching this. If they are, go outside and play. Actually, no, don't. Be quiet. Sit in a corner. Shh, you should be seen and not heard.
There we go. An insight into Claire's youth there.
Yes, I was seen and not heard, actually, because I was a very shy child, but that's a completely another show entirely. The red zone performance was bad. The coaching wasn't great. Oh, the shortest missed field goal like ever, in the shortest missed field goal attempt, sorry, ever in the NFL or something. But whilst the game was not won and lost by the officials, I believe that there were some very bad calls that led to a loss of points. And one of them, I actually wrote down the time of it. It was in the second quarter. There was about 1 minute left on the clock, and they pulled 75 Jacobs for holding, and it was crap. He didn't hold him, he pushed him. The Colts were doing loads worse and they didn't get the calls. So I genuinely believe that this game was a game where the officials threw their yellow flags and then decided who they were going to penalise on the Patriots offensive line. Whether or not they were in cahoots with someone to get the O-line to like pull their socks up or something. If we keep penalising them, maybe they'll play better. I have no idea. It's ridiculous. But yes, I was very angry about that. We're going to lose a lot of time now, the show, for me moaning about the officials. But I do believe there was some bad calls by them. And no face mask on Gonzo, another. They just were really, really lax in their judgment, I believe. And it was quite a bad game for that, personally. Get the face. Folks, it's too early. I've had way too much caffeine for us to be doing this show right now. But anyway, I have to put a little warning sign on this show. Claire was highly caffeinated.
Okay, so you touched on a lot of the points that I would have thought number one.
And the run defense as well. Wasn't great. Red zone performance. I don't know. How many flags do you want on this play?
I'm just going to sit back now. I've wound her up twice now. Here we go.
And breathe.
So, I'd say one reason we lost, I think, is our red zone offense. It was poor. Couldn't score.
Okay.
2, I'd probably put a slice kick. How you can miss the shortest NFL kick ever now. I think it's the record. The shortest miss ever. That points cost you. Play calling at the end of the second half. That's right. At the end of the first half was awful. The sequence of calling to use all your timeouts, 3 plays in a row running the ball to go nowhere. That was awful. Really poor. Penalties, as you've touched on. Penalties, 6 holding penalties, one of which was declined from your O-line. 7 for 88. The penalties cost you, and it wasn't all the officiating's fault for those penalties. And
all?
Colts, yeah, no, that's what we're agreeing. You don't have to protest. We're agreeing they're not all. The Colts suffer penalties as well that should have been against them. It was poor officiating. That doesn't even make my top 5 reasons why we lost. And like you say, the defense, run defense on that last drive, 21 plays, I think it was poor. You couldn't stop them. When you needed to, you couldn't stop them. It was poor. Go on then. There's a lot of pointy fingers.
Yeah, because I've remembered to point, because you know how bad my memory is. I was watching the Atlanta game on Red Zone at the same time our game was on. And I think it was Atlanta number 1. I meant to find his name out. He did exactly the same thing that Pop Douglas was doing in the game. These are my notes. These are my really, really bad notes. It was early in the fourth quarter. There was a penalty call on Pop Douglas. And a guy from Atlanta did exactly the same thing and didn't get called. So I believe there was some serious... I'm trying to find my information now. Apologies. Yeah, I believe that if we'd have had better officials, the way that the offense was playing, I believe it was a winnable game. Now, I'm not saying the officials were the only reason they lost. I am not saying that. However, I do believe if the officials had done their job better, maybe we'd have seen a different game and maybe we'd have seen a Patriots win. Because, come on, Hunter and Hooper.
I'm not saying you're wrong. The problem I have is you can't control the officials. You can control your own play, your own play call, your own coaching. That's what angers me and frustrates me. That's what I want to see improved. Because next week you could have the best officials ever, or you could have the worst officials ever. You can't control that. What you can control is your red zone offense.
That's even more frustrating. You could train and be a great offense, and then you've got sucky officials that ruin it. That's even worse because you can't control it. Surely something you can't control is more frustrating.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Because I'm looking for teams to develop. Now, we played a perfect game, and the only reason we lost was a bum call. Yes, I'd be highly frustrated that we did our job and the officials didn't do theirs. But that's nowhere near the way that game played out.
No, that's not what I'm saying completely. No, I agree with you.
So
I completely agree with you.
Coming away from it, that doesn't factor into the reasons I think we lost that game. Okay. And what I want to see improved going in the last 4 games of the season and beyond. So on offense, what pleased you?
Tight ends. Except Chudders, but that was a bad throw by May. So tight ends. And when he got injured, I was ready to take up arms and fight all the Colts players. When that helmet hit on Hunter was bad, and it wasn't even called. See, it wasn't even called for a penalty or anything. And it was a shockingly bad hit. He went into the blue tent, and I was really feisty and ready. Yeah, because all of my draw myself up to my whole 5 foot 3 inches and everything, ready to fight all the Colts players for that really bad hit on Hunter. But yeah, they did. We've got 2 good tight ends. I'm really pleased with that they're being. Well, it's like they're having to be utilised, but I'm really pleased that I get to see lots of tight endage. To be honest with you, it was 13 for 11. No, 13. What's it called?
11
targets. Yeah, 13 targets for 11 receptions, 117 yards between the 2 of them, Hunter and Hooper. My favourite double H combo now.
So we just need to re-sign Hooper, I think, because I
Mhm.
agree.
Correct.
And then we don't need any more tight ends in the draft. So moving on, what else pleased you, Claire?
You did that on purpose. You're so mean. You're so mean. I was in such a good mood. You even prefaced before the show. Oh, you're in such a good mood, Claire. Yes, I won't be soon.
Right, we've got Balazar on tight end that's coming through. We
Not doing so great. I want a new one. I want a new one in the draft.
Oh. Right, come on. What else pleased you on offense? Anything?
Gibson was good.
Yep.
7 for 62. Unfortunately, Stevenson is very inconsistent. I don't like his. I know that's like the bad, and we're going good bad. Inconsistency. He had 18 for 73, which considering Gibson had 7 for 62, that's not really a good ratio. But yeah, we had a better running game. That's a good point. But Stevenson had good bits, but he's very inconsistent. He has too many good, too many.
And he had another fumble as well.
Yeah.
He recovered, but he had another fumble.
It's worrying. Seeing as he was oh no, sorry, this isn't like technically good. Seeing as he was supposed to be at like number 1 running back and things like that, it's a little bit concerning. The last thing we need really, as obviously everybody knows, is as we go into the draft next season, is needing like good running backs and stuff like this. You want some positions to be set because we need so much elsewhere, like edge rushers and offensive line. Generally speaking, we don't know how many spots we're going to need by the time we hit 2025. Quality O-line, or at least good O-line. So yeah, is that why can't we just do good and bad? Why do we have to do good offense?
It's logical. Drake May, I thought, played well.
Yeah.
I thought he had a very good game. Missed a couple, but only very, very few. I thought he was hitting tight windows. He was balling. Great run as well.
Be like this. He's a rookie. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
Yeah, no, I thought he had one of his better games. I criticised him the other week when I thought he had one of his poorest of the season, and now I think he had one of his best. Great to see him developing. Pleased. O-line penalties, as we touched on, that was very poor. Polk again doing nothing. I think he was in the wrong position for Hooper's touchdown. End of half play calling was just abysmal. To waste the play like that, waste your timeouts, go nowhere, and then to miss the field goal, it was awful. You cost yourself 7 points, and then you cost yourself 3 points. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
This is another thing with, you mentioned coaching, just to chime in, if that's okay. Another thing with the coaching is we're judging Drake May on he has some good flashes and he has some bad flashes. Why aren't we judging AVP on he has some good flashes and he has some bad flashes? Because this is his first year as a play caller. Do you see my point, though? I know you don't agree with it. You never agree with anything. But do you see my point of we're granting May, quite rightly, that, but we aren't granting it to AVP, maybe?
I'm still not sold on AVP as a playmaker.
No, you're missing my point. Do you understand what I mean, though?
I'm not sure I do.
We're giving May credit when he's really good and saying that the bad is like, oh, well, he's a rookie. It was bad, but it's okay. AVP, are we giving him the credit when he's good? And are we just throwing shade when he's bad? Shouldn't he be given the same latitude? Do you see my point? Do you understand my point now?
Yes. I don't fully agree with it, which I know won't surprise you.
No.
Because this isn't his first time play calling. It's first a long time play calling. And I think he's not a rookie. He's not a 28-year-old offensive coach who's still learning his craft. He's been doing this a very long time.
That's fair.
He was quarterback himself. He understands it all. I think there's a reason he wasn't a play caller for a long time. Is because he's not a very good play caller.
He's a sporadic play caller.
I think that's what I think he's done brilliantly developing May. It's like I've said before. It's not that I want him necessarily gone. I just think that maybe as the entire coordination like you get in some other offenses. You get a passing game coordinator and a run game coordinator, and I just think he's not the man to be play calling for the offense. I don't think he gets his sequencing right, and I don't think he gets his play calling right. Yes, you could say it's his first time. Maybe if he carries on doing it for a few years, he will be, he'll get better and whatever else. But that's again comes back to my fear of, are you wasting Drake May and his development if you're not giving him the best situation around him? So I don't give AVP as many breaks as you do because I don't see him as a rookie. I just see him as play calling again for the first time in a long time. But I think
I wasn't necessarily giving him breaks. I was just floating out a situation for you that we aren't giving him. We in general, not you and I, just the general we aren't. But the reason, as you said, he's not a rookie, which is a very fair point. It just feels a little bit like maybe, although he's not a rookie, he's in his first year, so maybe we should be cutting him a little bit more slack considering what we are, Drake. That's all I was saying. But yes, your points are completely and utterly valid.
Yes, some people can. I choose not to, but that's not to say I'm right. I could be wrong in doing that. I understand that people do cut him more slack. I just don't.
That's a shocker. You don't cut somebody some slack. Oh my. I am amazed.
The drive after the interception as well in the second half. It's too conservative and it cost you an opportunity to kill the game. Reasons you lost. Henry was rocked. Stevenson fumble. We mentioned those. Generally, it was a. You've got Drake May. The other thing is the receivers, which generally did all right. The point on the receivers I wanted to make is a couple of weeks ago, Bourne was. I don't think he was benched. I don't think he was. I think he was active, or maybe he wasn't active. Anyway, but essentially he didn't play because Mayo's told him we want to go with the rookies. We want to develop the rookies, which completely understandable game plan, although disappointing. Understandable. None of the rookies caught a ball. Polk was targeted once, didn't catch it. He went with Douglas, Hooper, Henry, Butte, and Bourne as the receiver, which worked quite well. The problem is you've got nothing out of these rookies now. Absolutely nothing. We've got obviously a bye week, 4 games left. They need to be, in my mind, front and center. Otherwise, why are you keeping them around for next year? They've done absolutely nothing this season. They've shown you no promise. Baker's shown something as a returner, but I'm not sure even that's going to be good enough to keep him around purely on those basis. You can't keep someone at 53 just for that basis when you've drafted them as a receiver, in my mind. The young rookie receivers are doing nothing this season.
But it's been said that Baker's doing nothing in
exactly.
Training. That's the word I was after. So
that's what a lot of the reports are, that he's not showing it in training, so he's not getting the opportunities on game day, which I understand. And obviously, without knowing the full context of his failures in training, I can't comment too much on that. The only slight pushback I'd say on that is all the reports were that Garoppolo was not that great in training, but he was like a game day player, as they say. He really lit it up and shone on game day. It could be the case with Baker. I don't know, because he hasn't got that opportunity. So that's not a great way to have a career, is to train rubbish for 6 days and then just light it up on game day. I agree, because if you're trying to work on concepts and playbooks and whatever, and you're failing in the week, then that doesn't help your teammates and everything else. But at the moment, it's not looking good for those rookies at all. So, and any more on the offense? Any other notes you have?
No, because we're going to run out of time and all you're going to do is moan. So let's complain about the defense now.
Let's moan about the defense then. What pleased you about the defense, Claire?
You go.
Got another Gonzo eye into first career interception for Ellis.
Oh, I have one.
Sorry. Oh, you go.
I didn't think I had one. I was struggling to read my notes here. Now, I don't know. We still don't, obviously, this isn't a reflection of anything that happened on off field because we still don't really know the details. However, isolating it as an on-field situation, having Peppers back was good. If he's done bad things, then no, I don't want him back on the field. But like I said, that isolating it as just his on-field, putting that opinion that his return was great, 9 tackles combined. He's a good dynamic player. It's good to have him back in the fold. It helps. So, yeah, that was on my sort of good list. I know he didn't have like this most amazing explosive game, but it was good to have him back. He was as dynamic as ever with his 9 combined tackles. So, yeah, that's a good for me. And he was back, if you like.
No, I'd agree. And might as well do it now. He was my underrated player of the day. I thought he had a good game on his return.
Oh, nice.
Like you say, it'd be interesting to see how the off-field elements play out.
Yeah, of course.
I genuinely thought the way that was going that could be the end of his Patriots career, possibly even NFL career, with when first came to light the allegations. He's obviously now been removed from the exempt list and is playing. It's great to see. As an off-field player, let's wait to judge on that till that's completely played out. On field, it was good there, and he was contributing. I thought he had a good game. So, what were your bads? Can you read your crayons?
The run defense wasn't good. I got the run defense down. I've got on my bad list White, not bad, but meh. I watched him a few times, only a few isolated times, so he may have been a lot better the times that I didn't sort of focus on him. But several times that I was watching for him to be interested, he looked a bit lackluster, which was concerning because he's a key piece. We should be a key piece of this defense, and he can play very dominant, very aggressively. So he should. And the bits that I saw specifically, now people can obviously write in and be like, oh, well, you missed this play, you missed that play, and that's fine. Yes, I've only seen the game once, so you can only see so much. But the times that I picked him out because I was interested, very meh. So not necessarily bad, but meh.
No, I think you're right, and I think it hits the consistency because he has monster games and then he has quiet games where you don't see or hear from him effectively all game, and I thought it was one of those as well. I had pressure as one of my negatives. There were no sacks, only 2 QB hits. You weren't really doing much getting to that level. Also run defense, and you couldn't stop the Colts on that last drive. You couldn't. It was disappointing. It was disappointing. You to win the game there, and you couldn't dial it up. I had the thought in the week, and it's easy to say, and possibly it wouldn't have worked out this way, and he wouldn't have hung around. But I was thinking that if we had had Mayo as our defensive coordinator this year, a sort of even more continuity from last year, and we'd had Vrabel as head coach, I think we could be in a lot better position today than we actually are. Because I do fear for quite how much we've lost in that defensive room. Whilst we kept a lot of the players and a lot of the players that we liked, albeit Judon wasn't around. He's the one sort of that was traded away from that list. You obviously lost Belichick as the head coach. You lost Steve Belichick, who was arguably the play caller and maybe designed a lot of that defense although I appreciate his dad probably had the greater impact on that, but he was meant to have more of an influence than maybe we perceived. If you've then lost Mayo on a minutia level now, he's overlooking it, overseeing it, but how much is he designing the game plans, the schemes and everything for that? And you've handed it all over to Covington. I think it was a very big task, and potentially was it too big a task? again, you're right to say now it's a rookie coordinator. We need to give him more time. I get that, but I don't know. Was it looking a good decision?
If we're playing that ifs, buts, candy and nuts game, then for me it would have been, you hit on it, Belichick. I wouldn't have let Steve Belichick go. Well, I say wouldn't have let. That's probably poor choice of words. I think I'd be very interested if they'd have maintained Steve Belichick and promoted Mayo to head coach. For me, that's more of the significance that I think would have been, because it was a given that Mayo was going to be head coach. He wouldn't have hung around, I don't think, anyway. And what we knew 5 years ago that he was supposed to be head coach and this and the other. I think that's my underestimated thing for this show, is maybe that losing Steve Belichick has hit them harder than maybe anybody would realise, sort of thing. I'm sure there's fans out there that would have realised it, but that's the one for me. If you could make one coaching reasonable coaching decision, because some people would say, "Oh, get Ben Johnson in as head coach," but if you could make one reasonable change to what they changed with the coaching, I think I'd have retained, as hindsight is a great thing, obviously, I'd have retained Steve Belichick. I think looking at the season from where we are now, I think for me that's one of the keys, because the defense has actually been possibly a little bit worse than the offense in general, overall, sort of thing. The offense looked like they've really been trying to grow, and they have, in a way. It's not been majorly successful, obviously, but it's been a little bit successful. We've seen progression from Drake May, although obviously we know last week he had his worst game. Maybe this week he had a light on fire game, and he's building the momentum with the tight ends and with some of the wide receivers, sort of ish, because I think Booty has been working really hard, and I think it's obvious on the field that this guy has been trying to become something, or to be somebody in that wide receiver room, and I think that's really interesting and good to see. So I think with those aspects, there's small positivity. Whilst it's not all coming together on the offense, you can see where the good bits are, whereas on the defense it's not quite the same situation as such, although we've got very good players on the defense. Gonzalez, Alex Austin had a good game. There's another one. Christian Ellis is a good player. So we should be better on defense, perhaps, because of what they may have. So I don't know if that goes back down to the coaching room, which with Steve Belichick we were looking at something a bit different. Can we finish on a positive? Oh, sorry, please comment.
No, well, it's not positive, but I think it's where you've listed off good players. But I think they're lacking in great players. They're lacking, like we mentioned,
White. Of course.
He's an aggressive pass rusher, but he's maybe a better complementary pass rusher. You're maybe missing that number one destructive which you had in Judon, and maybe that is going to be one of the things you're looking for in the upcoming draft. At cornerback, you've got Gonzo, who I think has been brilliant. Very pleased with him. But number twos, number threes, Jonathan Jones is good. Marcus Jones is good, but they're maybe not great. You're possibly missing that number two corner. We talked about it in the offseason, potentially looking at getting Gilmore or something like that. And they're good pieces, but are they great? And so as a result, are you having to scheme and sometimes go for man, sometimes go for zone, and it's not always working because of the pieces you have? Not saying I want to get rid of them, but are you missing that additional depth in high-end talent to really be able to get the most out of your play?
But then I'd push back coaching. These are good players. Would one or two of them be better? Great, depending on what box you want to tick, with better coaching. So this is where I push back. These are good players to me. My opinions. These are really good players. Maybe with better coaching, would one of them be great? Would we look at our defense like we have in the past? This is the thing. This dominant defense, the boogeyman, things like this, because not all of them were superstar, like top high-end cornerbacks like Gonzo, high-end picks sort of thing. So that's my pushback on that one.
Well, I'd say scheme-wise, yes, I think the coaching could be better there, and that's where Covington's the criticism. In terms of individual players playing at a higher level, it's probably a no, because taking, for example, Jones and Jones,
Hmm.
They're not rookies; they're pretty experienced. They're probably at the level they're at now, and
Hmm.
it's how best you manage and deal with that. They're probably not going to get to higher ceilings. To reverse that on the offense, you'd say Baker and Polk, who haven't performed, is that their individual basis or is that coaching? Because those are young players
Mm.
that have they not been coached right or used right, i.e., blaming on the coaching and the play calling to get the best out of them and to hit their
Hmm.
ceilings. The more
Hmm.
experienced players who have played in the league longer, played in the team longer, are performing to a certain level. When you look at Douglas and Bootie's obviously one that's stepped up a bit more.
Yeah.
Henry Hooper born. So I think I look at more the coaching with the younger players who are coming in, rookies who are looking to develop their game and yet to hit their ceiling. Those players that I think have already found it. It's how are you using them? Because I don't think
Hmm.
you're going to get more elite play out of them, but are you maximizing? Are you putting them in the best position to succeed, as one former coach used to put it? So,
That's fair.
okay, last thing we probably touch on special teams, poor
Yeah.
punt, and then the field goal. Obviously, not the one at the end. Would you have gone for the field goal, the 68-yard field goal, or would you have gone for Hail Mary?
I don't know. The field goal, they were both a Hail Mary in a way because the field goal was so far. He was like about 2 yards off though, so it was a bit of a, but we were so close. That's why it was so difficult. Genuinely, I don't know. I'm not sure. I take it you have an answer to this one. I don't have an answer to that question.
I probably would have gone field goal as they did. Um, and obviously, it would have been a wrong decision. I get
Mm.
it. I get it. If they'd have gone Hail Mary, I wouldn't have highly criticized them. It's not like I would just gone field goal. I get it.
I think
Yeah,
how the game was rolling out, it was probably the right decision still, even though it
and
was
I
unsuccessful. Field
suppose to
goal.
slightly, I would say
Mm.
that they schemed well.
Mm.
They had 12 seconds, I think it was, and they managed to get those passes off the timeouts. They managed to execute that as well as you can do in those circumstances. It helps the
Hmm.
defense that the Colts are playing, but you had very small windows of opportunity, literally to the almost a millisecond there to execute.
Mm.
And they did manage to execute that plan well, albeit not get, like I said, if they got 2 more yards, maybe they would have actually
Mm.
made
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So I just need to point. Are we wrapping up now?
Yeah, I'm happy to wrap up. Oh,
Because
so, no, one thing I was going to offer you, we're getting close now, so I've nearly won 2 more sandwiches because I don't think we're getting to 6.5 wins where I picked the under, you took the over. And we took a QB, and I don't think we're going to finish second in the division either, Claire. But they're not.
we'll wait for the demise of the Jets.
Yeah, well, I don't think.
And the Jets.
I was going to offer you one more bet, the same one I offered you last year. So when we come back from the bye, 4 games
Yeah.
left: Cardinals, Bills, Bills again, and
Chargers.
Chargers. Do we win a game?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go no,
Ooh.
and that's not because I want us to uh, not win games, and this is not me saying I want us to tank for us. I just think you'll be coming across the Bills, who'll be not only, well, I think they will have probably won the division by then, but they're looking to get number one in the conference. They're trying to get that 1 seed, so they're going to want to beat you. They're not going to be resting. Obviously, if they've achieved number one by the last game of the season, you might have a chance if they're resting starters, but I think they'll be playing out both those games and they're going to beat you. They're looking at a very good team. Cardinals have still got something to be going for, as have the Chargers. So I think you're coming across 3 teams in 4 games there that have to win and have better talent than you. So I'm
quite confident that they're going to have at least one win. I'm confident in a win.
I would like us to win one more game, because I don't care about the draft position, but I think it's good for morale and showing that you can. They've been in a lot of one-score games. You can get over the line and win one of those. It'd be great to upset the
Mhm.
Bills.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
win the other games. I'd like them to win one, but I think it's going to be tough.
I never said it'd be easy. Goodness, no, I didn't say it was easy, but definitely that I believe that there's going to be another win.
And you'll be like, yeah, we're going to win 30-17. Right, go on then, Claire.
Surprise, there's no predictions. So, well, that is it.
We both lost,
No?
obviously. We both predicted a win. I was going to get an update on who's winning.
Yeah, no, we both predicted a win, so it's the same. And the one I do want to end on something good, because on my notes that, like I said, weren't very family friendly, there was plenty of swearing about the officials and things like this, as we have discussed. However, I did have, particularly at the beginning of my notes, early in the first quarter, it was 2 tight ends blocking for Stevenson. Sexy as heck. The tight ends blocking. There's plenty of tight endage blocking, and it was sexy as heck. So there you go. On that.
Strangely, I didn't have that noted. Who'd have thought?
I did. I had it. I think I had it twice. Anyway, that is it for week 13. Patriots versus Colts. Disappointing loss. Heartbreaking loss, some people have said, to be fair. But anyway. That's us for episode 46. Here's Chudders. I'm Clazzy Clare. Tune in next time, folks. We will be back for the bye week. Goodness knows what we're going to be talking about, but we'll argue as usual and never agree. So, if you like that kind of thing, as always, tune in next time, folks. And go Pats.
Left G.